Imagine a world where every second counts in an emergency, but help is delayed, and lives hang in the balance. This was the reality in the early 20th century, when calling for assistance meant waiting for an operator to connect you, hoping they'd get it right in time. Amidst this chaos, a simple yet revolutionary idea emerged. The world's first emergency number, 999. So, how did this life-saving change come about? It all began with a devastating fire in London in 1935. During the tragedy, a critical flaw in the telephone system became evident. Calls for help were getting delayed, and lives were lost as a result. This heart-wrenching event raised an important question. How could emergency services respond faster and more effectively? The answer came in the form of a letter to the Times, written by a neighbor who had tried unsuccessfully to reach the fire brigade. His letter sparked a government inquiry, leading to the creation of a dedicated emergency number. The result? 999, chosen for its simplicity and ease of use. This is the untold story of how a single letter set in motion an innovation that would become a global standard, saving countless lives and forever changing the way we respond to emergencies. On a fateful night in 1935, fire engulfed a London home, trapping 5 people inside. Neighbors rushed to call for help, but they were met with a devastating delay. Operators struggled to connect the call, precious minutes were lost, and tragedy struck. The fire claimed 5 lives, leaving the city in shock and demanding answers. This wasn't the first time delays had proven deadly, but it was the wake-up call authorities needed. Headlines criticized the inefficiencies of the existing system, and public outcry grew louder. Could something be done to prevent such needless losses? Behind the scenes, engineers, policymakers, and emergency services began brainstorming. Their mission was clear: to design a faster, more reliable way to summon help. The stakes were high, and so were the challenges. In response to the public outcry, a special committee was formed to revolutionize emergency communication. This team, composed of post office engineers and emergency services, envisioned a system that could bypass operators and connect callers directly to first responders. But how could they make this vision a reality? One idea was to designate a unique number, easily recognizable and universally accessible. Engineers debated endlessly. Should it be 3 digits, 4, or even a word? Could the existing infrastructure handle such a system? The challenges weren't just technical. Convincing a skeptical public to adopt a completely new approach would require trust and proof that the system could work. Did you know that many believed operators would resist the change, fearing their roles would become obsolete? As debates raged, one thing became clear: failure wasn't an option. The pressure to deliver a foolproof system grew heavier, setting the stage for one of history's most significant technological achievements. In the mid-1930s, emergency services in the UK were severely hampered by a telephone system that often couldn't handle urgent calls in a timely manner. When a crisis struck, emergency calls frequently got lost in the general telephone traffic, delaying life-saving responses. It was clear that a change was needed, a number dedicated to emergencies, quick to dial and easy to remember. The catalyst for change came after a tragic house fire in Wimpole Street, London, in 1935, where 5 women lost their lives. A neighbor had attempted to call the fire brigade but was frustrated by the delay caused by telephone congestion. Outraged, he wrote a letter to the Times, highlighting the critical need for a dedicated emergency number. This letter sparked a government inquiry into how to address the problem. The result? A new emergency number, 999. It was chosen because it was short, memorable, and could be easily dialed on the rotary phones of the time. More importantly, it was distinct from any other telephone exchange number, ensuring it wouldn't be confused in times of crisis. In 1937, the number was introduced in London, becoming the world's first emergency number. It marked the start of a revolution in public safety, enabling people to call for help in emergencies with certainty and speed. The neighbor's letter to the Times was the catalyst for this vital change, leading to the creation of a global standard that has saved millions of lives since. Out of the chaos and heated debates came a groundbreaking idea: a dedicated emergency number accessible to everyone, bypassing operator delays. But why 999? The post office engineers, tasked with the project, faced a technical challenge: finding a number that was easy to dial, even in the dark, and that wouldn't disrupt existing services. The choice of 999 wasn't random. On rotary dial telephones, the number 9 was at the edge, easy to find. Triple repetition made it memorable and quick. Did you know other numbers, like 111 and 222, were considered but rejected due to technical conflicts? The simplicity of 999 won the day. By 1937, the system was ready for its debut in London. Red phone boxes, symbolic beacons of hope, were equipped with direct lines to emergency services. This new system promised to save lives, but the public wasn't entirely convinced. Could it truly work? The system's introduction marked the beginning of a revolutionary approach to public safety. Its first test cases would prove if it could live up to its promise, or crumble under the weight of doubt. The first calls to 999 were a mixture of urgency and curiosity. One of the earliest recorded emergencies was a burglary in progress. The police responded swiftly, shocking the criminal and earning the public's trust in this innovative system. Despite its promise, the system faced skepticism. Misuse of the number became an immediate concern. Did you know prank calls and misdials accounted for over half of the early calls received? This forced operators to undergo rigorous training to identify and prioritize genuine emergencies. Gradually, the success stories began to outweigh the doubts. Fires were extinguished before they could spread. Heart attack victims received life-saving assistance. Headlines lauded 999 as a lifeline of the future. The public started to see it not just as a tool but as a symbol of safety and reliability. The impact of 999 would soon transcend the borders of Britain, inspiring a global transformation in emergency communication. After its successful launch in London, 999 began proving its worth as a life-saving tool. But this posed a new challenge: how to expand the system to the rest of Britain. Unlike today's interconnected world, extending such an advanced network was no small feat in the 1930s and 1940s. Each city had unique infrastructure, and resources were scarce, especially during the war years. Still, the demand for 999 grew. Other cities saw London's success and clamored for their own systems. Did you know that Birmingham and Glasgow were among the first cities to adopt the 999 service after its initial rollout? The move marked a monumental step in creating a nationwide safety net. Public awareness campaigns were launched to educate citizens on how and when to use the number. Posters appeared in town squares, radio broadcasts explained its importance, and schools incorporated the concept into lessons. These efforts made 999 more than just a phone number; it became a household name. However, expanding the system was not without obstacles. Technicians faced challenges in upgrading telephone exchanges, while emergency services needed better coordination. Yet, despite these difficulties, the system's reliability grew. By the 1950s, 999 was saving lives not just in urban areas but in rural communities too. As Britain embraced its emergency number, other countries began to take notice. The world was watching closely, and 999's influence would soon cross international borders. Britain's pioneering 999 system was a game-changer, and other nations quickly took note. As the 20th century progressed, governments around the world sought to replicate its success. From Canada's adoption of 911 to Europe's unified 112, the idea of a dedicated emergency number spread like wildfire. But implementing these systems globally wasn't straightforward. Each country had to adapt the concept to its unique challenges. In the United States, for instance, the vast size and decentralized nature of the nation's telephone network required years of planning before 911 could roll out in 1968. Meanwhile, in Europe, discussions about creating a single number for multiple countries led to the development of 112, which now serves over 40 countries. Did you know that even today, some nations still struggle to implement universal emergency numbers? In remote regions of developing countries, limited infrastructure and resources create significant hurdles. Yet, The success of 999 proves that where there's a will, there's a way. As emergency numbers spread globally, they saved millions of lives. Car accidents, medical emergencies, and natural disasters were met with faster, more coordinated responses. This international adoption highlighted the incredible legacy of Britain's 999 system. But how has technology transformed the way we use emergency numbers today? From smartphones to GPS tracking, the evolution of emergency communication is far from over. Imagine this. You're in the middle of a forest, miles away from civilization, and an emergency strikes. How do you reach help? Today, advancements in technology have revolutionized the way emergency calls are handled. Gone are the days of relying solely on fixed landlines. The world now depends on mobile phones, satellites, and even apps to connect to emergency services. The integration of GPS technology has been a game changer. When someone calls 999, or its global counterparts, their location can now be pinpointed with astounding accuracy. This has been particularly crucial for emergencies in remote areas or during disasters where exact addresses may not exist. Another breakthrough? The introduction of SMS emergency services. Did you know that people with hearing or speech impairments can now text for help in many countries? This inclusive approach ensures no one is left behind in a moment of crisis. Technology has also improved how emergency responders communicate. Police, fire, and medical teams can now coordinate in real time, thanks to advanced communication systems. This reduces response times and increases efficiency in life-threatening situations. But with progress comes challenges. Cybersecurity risks have emerged, as emergency networks must now safeguard against potential hacks. How do authorities balance innovation with safety? It's a question they continue to grapple with. As we look toward the future, one innovation promises to redefine emergency calls forever: artificial intelligence. Could AI hold the key to predicting and preventing emergencies? The advent of artificial intelligence, AI, has opened doors to possibilities once confined to science fiction. Emergency services are no exception. What if a system could predict emergencies before they happen? AI, with its data-crunching prowess, is bringing us closer to that reality. AI algorithms are already being used to analyze patterns in crime data, enabling police departments to anticipate and prevent incidents in high-risk areas. Meanwhile, medical AI systems can detect early signs of cardiac arrest or strokes based on real-time data from wearable devices. These advancements could save lives by alerting emergency responders even before a call is made. But AI isn't just about prediction, it's also transforming how emergency calls are handled. In some countries, AI-powered virtual assistants are answering calls, collecting vital details faster than human operators. These systems can analyze speech patterns and detect panic or urgency, prioritizing cases that require immediate attention. However, as groundbreaking as AI is, it's not without controversy. Critics worry about privacy concerns and the potential for errors in life and death situations. Imagine an AI system misinterpreting data. How do we ensure accountability? These are ethical dilemmas that authorities must address as they embrace AI technology. As emergency services evolve, they'll rely on more than just AI. Innovations in robotics, drones, and even quantum computing are waiting on the horizon, promising to take emergency response to new heights. Picture this: a stranded hiker on a remote mountain peak, unable to call for help. Suddenly, a drone appears, carrying a first aid kit and a communication device. This is no longer a futuristic dream, it's the reality of modern emergency response. Drones have transformed the way emergency services operate, providing eyes in the sky during disasters. In search and rescue missions, drones equipped with thermal cameras can scan vast areas for signs of life, cutting down the time it takes to locate survivors. Their ability to navigate dangerous or inaccessible terrains ensures that help can reach even the most isolated locations. But it's not just drones that are making waves. Robots are now being deployed in situations too hazardous for humans. From bomb disposal to firefighting, these mechanical responders are saving lives while minimizing risks to emergency personnel. For instance, Fire-resistant robots can enter blazing buildings to locate trapped victims or assess structural stability. Even the healthcare sector is harnessing robotics. Robotic ambulances are being tested to deliver medical supplies or perform life-saving tasks remotely, guided by doctors from miles away. The integration of these technologies marks a turning point in emergency services, where speed and precision are paramount. As impressive as these advancements are, they're not without limitations. Questions about cost, accessibility, and reliability remain. How do we ensure these tools are available globally, not just in wealthy nations? The answer lies in collaboration and innovation, which we'll explore next. Emergencies know no borders, yet the resources to handle them are far from evenly distributed. While some countries boast cutting-edge systems, others struggle with outdated technology and limited manpower. How do we bridge this gap and ensure that everyone, regardless of location, has access to life-saving services? The concept of a globalized emergency service network is gaining traction. Imagine a world where countries share resources and expertise, working together to tackle crises more effectively. International collaborations, such as the United Nations initiatives for disaster response, have already demonstrated the power of unity. During major events like earthquakes or tsunamis, rapid response teams from around the world join forces to provide aid. But globalization isn't just about physical resources, it's also about knowledge sharing. Advanced nations are training personnel from developing countries, equipping them with skills to handle emergencies independently. This transfer of expertise ensures that even the most vulnerable regions can build resilient systems. Technology plays a key role in this effort. Cloud-based systems allow real-time data sharing between nations, enabling quicker and more coordinated responses. However, the challenge lies in ensuring that all countries can afford and maintain these technologies. As the world moves toward interconnected systems, one question remains: can we create a universal emergency number that works seamlessly across all borders? It's a bold vision, but one worth pursuing as humanity faces global challenges together. Imagine being in a foreign country, caught in an emergency, and unsure which number to dial for help. This scenario is all too common, as emergency numbers vary widely across the globe. Could a single, universal emergency number be the solution to this problem? The idea has been debated for decades. Proponents argue that a universal number would eliminate confusion and save precious time during crises. International travelers, who often face language barriers and cultural differences, would benefit significantly from a consistent system. Some countries have made strides in this direction, combining police, fire, and medical services under one number, such as 911 in the United States or 112 in the European Union. However, implementing a global emergency number is not without challenges. It requires international agreements, technological upgrades, and extensive public awareness campaigns. Furthermore, the infrastructure in less developed regions may struggle to support such a system. Would every country have the capacity to field calls and dispatch aid efficiently? Despite these hurdles, pilot projects are exploring the feasibility of a universal number. With advancements in technology, such as GPS tracking and AI-powered call centers, the dream is closer than ever. But as we consider the possibilities, a deeper question emerges. How do we ensure inclusivity in emergency services, particularly for marginalized and underserved populations? Let's delve into this pressing issue next. Emergencies don't discriminate, yet access to emergency services often does. From rural communities to urban slums, millions of people lack reliable access to help when they need it most. How do we address this inequality and ensure no one is left behind? One solution lies in mobile technology. In many developing nations, smartphones have become lifelines, even in remote areas. Apps that connect users to emergency services or provide first aid instructions are bridging gaps in accessibility. Additionally, initiatives like Text to 911 allow those with hearing or speech impairments to seek help without barriers. Community-based programs also play a vital role. In regions with limited resources, training local volunteers as first responders empowers communities to act during crises. These grassroots efforts often make the difference between life and death when formal emergency services are unavailable. Inclusivity isn't just about physical access, it's about understanding diverse needs. Cultural sensitivity, language support, and services tailored for vulnerable groups, such as the elderly or disabled, are critical. For instance, emergency alerts in multiple languages ensure that everyone can respond appropriately to impending disasters. As technology evolves and awareness grows, there's hope for a future where emergency services are truly universal. But inclusivity requires commitment and innovation, raising another question. How do we prepare for emergencies we can't yet imagine? Let's explore the role of foresight and innovation in our final segment. As we reflect on the history and evolution of emergency numbers, it becomes clear that the future will be shaped by a combination of technological innovation and forward-thinking preparedness. What if we could predict emergencies before they happen? Could we leverage the power of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data analytics to prevent crises before they escalate? The use of AI in emergency services is already gaining momentum. Predictive algorithms can analyze vast amounts of data, from weather patterns to social media posts, to identify potential disasters or emergencies. For instance, AI could detect an emerging fire based on changes in temperature or air quality, allowing first responders to act before the situation worsens. Machine learning models are being developed to identify patterns in human behavior that could indicate distress, such as unusual activity in a neighborhood or a spike in calls for help. Innovation doesn't stop at detection, it extends to response. Autonomous vehicles and drones are being tested to deliver medical supplies, assess damage, and even evacuate individuals from hazardous areas. Meanwhile, virtual reality is being utilized to train emergency responders, offering simulated environments where they can practice life-saving techniques. But as technology advances, so must our thinking about preparedness. What role will governments, corporations, and individuals play in this new landscape? The key lies in collaboration. By working together, we can build a more resilient world, one where emergencies are met with swift, coordinated responses. As we continue to innovate and prepare, one thing is certain. The future of emergency services will be shaped by a shared commitment to protecting lives, no matter where they are. From its inception, the number 999 has symbolized humanity's desire to protect and serve those in need. What began as a simple number to dial for help has evolved into a global lifeline, serving as the foundation for emergency services worldwide. And yet, as we've seen, the journey doesn't end with 999. The future of emergency services is filled with possibilities. Whether it's a universal emergency number, the inclusion of marginalized communities, or the transformative potential of cutting-edge technology, we are only scratching the surface of what's to come. One thing is clear. The legacy of 999 has ignited a global movement towards safer, more responsive societies. As we move forward, the question is no longer, what can we do? But, what will we do? Will we embrace innovation to create a world where emergencies are anticipated and mitigated before they strike? Or will we falter in the face of new challenges? The answers lie in our hands, as we continue to push the boundaries of what's possible. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time and technology. As part of the Great Chronicles, we invite you to stay with us as we explore more groundbreaking stories about the innovations that shape our world. From the power of global cooperation to the incredible advancements in disaster relief, the future is waiting to be discovered.